the FDA authorized and the CDC recommended new updated COVID-19 vaccines for all Americans 12 and above. This makes us, the United States, the first nation with new vaccines that match the version of the Omicron variant that is currently dominant both here in the US and around the world. For the first time since December of 2020, these vaccines, our vaccines, have caught up with the virus. And as Secretary Becerra and I will discuss, the Biden administration has been preparing for this moment in close partnership with state and local health departments, with pharmacies and community health centers, rural health clinics, physicians, and other healthcare providers. This is a moment when people can keep themselves healthy and safe as they think about the road ahead. So we have worked extremely hard to make sure we have ample supply of these new updated vaccines available for the American people, and these vaccines will continue to remain free. Now, we have been working over the weekend to get these vaccines out to tens of thousands of convenient, trusted locations around the country. And before we get into talking more about the vaccines, the vaccination programs, let me first turn to Dr. Tony Fauci, everybody knows Dr. Fauci, to discuss the importance of this milestone. Dr. Fauci?
Thank you very much, Dr. Jha. I'd like to take the next few minutes to walk through certain aspects of where we are now with COVID-19 vaccinations. It is becoming increasingly clear that looking forward with the COVID-19 pandemic, in the absence of a dramatically different variant, we likely are moving towards a path with a vaccination cadence similar to that of the annual influenza vaccine, with annual updated COVID-19 shots matched to the currently circulating strains for most of the population. However, some particularly vulnerable groups may continue to need more frequent vaccination against COVID-19. Let us review what we know about the safety and efficacy of mRNA COVID-19 vaccines, as well as the benefits we expect from the recently updated vaccines. First, safety. More than 600 million doses of mRNA vaccines have been administered in the United States alone, with billions more given to people globally. Through robust safety monitoring systems, we now have an extensive body of safety data as good or better than what we have for any prior vaccine. In addition, in clinical trials, more than 1,700 people have received bivalent mRNA vaccines with no additional safety concerns. Regarding effectiveness, data from the pivotal COVID-19 mRNA vaccine efficacy trials in 2020 showed a remarkable 94 to 95% efficacy against symptomatic disease. We later learned through real-world evidence that vaccine protection, particularly against infection, wanes over time. But that additional doses enhance protection, particularly against severe disease, leading to hospitalization or death. Now, what should we expect from our recently updated vaccines? Data from Moderna and Pfizer have shown that vaccines containing sequences from both the original SARS-CoV-1 virus and the Omicron BA.1 variant induced higher antibody titers against Omicron than did the original vaccines. These bivalent vaccines also induced higher antibody titers against all SARS-CoV-2 variants than did the original vaccines. In addition, the bivalent vaccines induced even higher levels of neutralizing antibodies in individuals who had recovered from COVID-19. And so we fully expect that the updated bivalent vaccines containing BA.4, BA.5 sequences will offer better protection against currently circulating strains than the original vaccines, although it is difficult to predict at this point how much better that protection will be. In conclusion, we know that the mRNA COVID-19 vaccines are safe. We know that receiving the recommended vaccine dose is critical to maintaining optimal protection against severe COVID-19, particularly for the elderly. And we expect that the updated vaccines will offer better protection against the SARS-CoV-2 subvariants that are currently circulating. And so, my message to you is simple. Get your updated COVID-19 shot as soon as you are eligible in order to protect yourself, your family, and your community against COVID-19 this fall and winter. I certainly will do so. Back to you, Dr. Jha.
Great. Thank you, Dr. Fauci. I want to pick up where Tony left off. For the last 2 years, this virus has continued evolving, while our vaccines have stayed the same. But now we have a vaccine that matches the dominant strain out there. By the way, let me be very clear. Achieving this was no small feat. But what it means is this. It is reasonable to expect, based on what we know about immunology and science of this virus, that these new vaccines will provide better protection against infection, better protection against transmission, and ongoing and better protection against serious illness. And importantly, as Dr. Fauci said, this also marks a significant progress in terms of our ability to protect people and manage the virus moving forward. So, barring any new variant curveballs, we've seen curveballs, but barring those variant curveballs, for a large majority of Americans, we are moving to a point where a single annual COVID shot should provide a high degree of protection against serious illness all year. That's an important milestone. Now, let me be clear. For our highest risk individuals, and here I'm thinking about my elderly parents, for instance, who are in their 80s, or one of my close friends who recently had a liver transplantation. Individuals like that may need more than annual protection. And we will ensure in this administration that they get whatever protection they need. Now, I know over the past 18 months, figuring out what you need and when you need it hasn't always been super simple. That all changes. These new vaccines make it easy for us to think differently. So here's the simple version. If you're 12 and above and previously vaccinated, it's time to go get an updated COVID-19 shot. Now, here are a couple of caveats because there are always a few caveats. If you got a recent infection or were recently vaccinated, it's reasonable to wait a few months. Now, we expect millions of people to get the shot this month as folks get back to school, get back to work, and get back into their regular routines after the summer. And as the annual flu vaccination campaign kicks into high gear later this month and into early October, we expect millions will choose to get their COVID-19 shot at the same time, or over the course of the fall when people go in for routine checkups. The good news is you can get both your flu shot and COVID shot at the same time. It's actually a good idea. I really believe this is why God gave us two arms, one for the flu shot and the other one for the COVID shot.